Disability benefit cuts are to hit 700,000 families already in poverty, the DWP forecast shows. We're going to read into this exclusive from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an exclusive from The Guardian with the headline of disability benefit cuts hit 700,000 families already in poverty, the DWP forecast shows. The exclusive reveals that the internal government forecast obtained by The Guardian revealed truly shocking shocking effects of planned cuts. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Now, the vast majority of people who rely on PIP to live, rely on it to pay their bills, rely on it to have a life of some sort, are at risk as a result of the government announcing its changes to the personal independent payment system, PIP. The entitlements that people are that need in order to survive, some of them who are unable to work in any way, shape or form. I do believe that people, if the opportunity is there for them to be able to work, they should be able to do that, but nobody should be forced out in doing so. It is such a challenge for people to be able to claim entitlements from the system. If anyone tells you that it is easy to claim benefits, I encourage you to try and claim them yourself, because you will not get past the first hurdle. For some of these people who already have a number of disadvantages in their life, they still cannot claim benefits for some of them because of how many thresholds that they have to go through. They have to jump through so many hoops to get entitlements from the government. It's insane. It really, really is. 700,000 families who are going to be hit, according to this forecast, who are already in poverty, the poorest in society, at a time when we are already in a cost of living crisis, who are people who are struggling to feed themselves, to feed their families and their loved ones. In the United Kingdom, which is considered one of the wealthiest countries on the planet, we cannot deal with poverty. Poverty is not something that we cannot deal with. It is something that we choose not to deal with. It is something that successive governments, Conservative and Labour, have not done enough to deal with. I want to see a reduction in child poverty. I don't care who is in government. It needs to be done. I want to make sure that every single child is given the opportunities that they need. I want to make sure that people who are in poverty, who are homeless, are given an opportunity to stand on their own 2 feet, to be able to be given a job and work, to be able to be given the opportunities to be able to become something, to make something of themselves, so that not only can they contribute to society, but live at least a decent life. Nobody should be homeless. Nobody should be forced in situations beyond their control. And the whole point of a government is to look after its people. How does cutting off the lifeline of people help them? It doesn't. And when you cut the lifeline of some of these people, do you know what happens? It means that they're not able to use the money that they get from their benefits to pay for the essentials they need. That means they don't have any money, which means that less money goes into the economy as well. And you end up with more people on the streets as a result as well, because those people are no longer able to pay their bills. Those people no longer have the entitlements that they have. So you thought, just the 1 or 2 homeless people you were bothered by were a problem. Now wait until you start seeing more. Then what happens? This is the reality. We need to make sure that everyone is needed the help they need. And yes, if it comes at the expense of taxpayers, that's what it needs to be. The whole point of a government is to look after its people. We pay taxes, for public services and all other benefits, for all other means as well. And there are people in society who can't be successful, who can't make it on their own. And they do need a pick-me-up from the government. And that is what they're there for. They're there to represent you. They're there to represent me, the government. They're there to represent everyone in the United Kingdom. That's their job. To help everyone, to make sure everybody has a decent life. Not to cut the blood out of people. Because that's exactly what this is. So many people, So many people, especially online, a lot of people, when I get people from comments who try to justify what the government are doing, they've so much have lost their morals, and become so selfish in their own minds that they don't see the wider picture. It's so disgusting. Like, how many of those people who have a problem with people on benefits, or those people who are the poison society, how many of you have ever donated to charity? How many of you have actually ever volunteered? How many of you have actually walked past a homeless person and actually said, you know what, I'm going to give that person something? Ask yourself that question before you start criticising others. The government's planned disability benefit cuts will hit 700,000 families who are already in poverty, according to the Internal Department for Work and Pensions forecast obtained by The Guardian. The figures sourced under the Freedom of Information Act are in addition to the projected 250,000 people who will be newly driven below the poverty lines by the cuts set out by the government impact assessment in March. Disability right campaigners called the new disclosure choosing shocking and said that the changes will push people even further away from having the means to find work. The DWP estimates that 3.2 million families across Great Britain will lose out under the plans in 2029-2030, about 3 years after the cuts are due to be taken effect. And of those, 700,000 will be families already categorised as being in relative poverty when taking housing costs into account. Disquiet is growing among Labour MPs before a vote on changes to personal independent payment, PIP, which are paid to disabled people regardless of whether they are in work, and which they will have strict new criteria. In total, 3 million people are expected to see their benefits affected. Mark Harrison of campaign group Disabled People Against Cuts said it was unthinkable to push disabled people already in poverty deeper into the mire and further away from the jobs market. You can't overestimate the fears that these projected cuts are generating. Rachel Reeves and Liz Kendall are responsible for demonising disabled people in the same way David Cameron and George Osborne did over a decade ago. This is bad politics and bad policy making. They should be ashamed of themselves. He said the government must scrap the planned cuts. If they don't, this will become Starmer's poll tax and will ultimately be his downfall. The figures do not take into account the DWP's planned £1 billion investment in disability employment support schemes, because the DWP has not published any estimates of how many disabled people will find work through these schemes. And the Office of Budget Responsibility won't publish its own independent forecast until MPs have voted on the cuts. And that's outrageous. Key to the planned changes is the tightening of the criteria for PIP, meaning applicants who do not score 4 points or above in at least one criteria in the daily living category will not receive the PIP daily living program. That includes people who cannot wash themselves below the waist. This is outrageous to treat people like this. It will not immediately affect those who are already claimed, but it will affect those reapplying or reassessed after the new rules come into force, as well as new applicants. For those who cannot not work because of their disability or who are receiving health-related top-up of universal credit, these payments will be frozen below inflation. The top-up for new claimants will be cut by among half. Being disabled already puts you at a high risk of living in poverty, said Kate Schmushkar, Principal Policy Advisor at the Joseph Rowntree Foundation. These cuts are likely to mean that many more disabled people needing to regularly use food banks because they cannot afford basic essentials like food. The government must stop these planned cuts if it's committed to ending the moral scars of food bank use. MPs will vote on the cuts next month so that they can take effect next year. The proposed PIP 4-point rule alone is forecast to hit 250,000 families already in poverty by 2030, including 50,000 children, according to DWP's responses to written parliamentary questions. The families will lose out on $4,500 a year on average. The 700,000 figure does not include people who will lose care allowance if the person they care for is no longer qualified for PIP. Alongside the cuts, there will be a rise in the standard rate of universal credit, which the DWP expects 2.4 million families in poverty to benefit from, though it will be mostly non-disabled families who will gain about £400 a year above inflation. Stavlana Kovia, Director of Campaigns of Justice at Inclusion London, a deaf and disabled persons organisation, has said, "These statistics are further evidence of how much the misery the government is willing to inflict on disabled people who are already living in poverty. Poverty costs money and displaces costs on other services like the NHS, meaning that cuts to social security may achieve only 2% of their planned savings." Government spokesperson has tried to argue that our reforms are to the broken welfare system we inherited means more than 2 million families in relative poverty will be better off. They are planning to cut money. As part of our plan for change, we create sustainable welfare systems that generate support for people into work and out of poverty, backed by a £1 billion additional employment support funding that guaranteed a tailored help. Alongside this, we increase the national living wage, upgrade benefits, and are helping over 1 million households by introducing a fair repayment rate on universal credit deductions. When increasing the national living wage does not help in terms of benefits. I've already argued this numerous times, that the increase in national minimum wage means bugger all when you are paying more for your council tax, paying more for your energy, paying more for your water, paying more for the rest of your bills, which have all gone up, haven't they? Yes, they have. So that's really kind of counterintuitive there. Poverty is an abomination. It's an abomination that should never happen. People deserve a fair opportunity and a fair crack in life. I'm very fortunate in my life to have the family and the people that I have. But there are many out there who do not have that luxury. There are many people out there who haven't been given the opportunities to be able to succeed in life. And sometimes you need just a little bit of help to get going. Some people cannot do that because of physical and disabilities that happen beyond their control, and they are in situations where they need the government to look after them. Many of those people are not going to have that care anymore, because of the decisions, political decisions, that this Labour government is choosing to take. Let's be clear here. The money that the government needs to raise is from the wealthiest in society. They are choosing to take money from the poorest of people in society. So what do you guys think of this article? Let me know what you guys think about over 700,000 families already in poverty. The DWP's forecast shows. Share down in the comments below what you guys think. If you found this video informative or helpful in any way to you, hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. And if you want to financially support me, hit that join button down below to join the YouTube membership for as little as 99p. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.